Hey everyone, Stu from Touch Loops here. I've put together a tutorial based around our new pack, Electric Nights. Before it was called Electric Nights, it was called Alt Pop, and I was just listening to a lot of Bjork, in particular the Utopia record that was produced by Arca, or co-written and produced by Arca, I'm not sure. A lot of FKA Twigs, also very Arca inspired. And really just wanted to drill into how you can create really unusual, distorted, rhythmically crazy percussion patterns and beats and melodies that are musical enough that you could get quite a straightforward pop vocal over the top of them and create something really unique, like on those records. So that's what we've done here. I've got 6 of my favourite arrangements, instrumentals from the pack, Electric Nights, and I think it's really worth going into a few of the different things that you can do, with Ableton, only Ableton effects chains, the effects chains we've built, the individual audio units they have. I'm saying audio units, you know what I mean, the Ableton own ones, as well as a bunch of the Max for Live things you get with Ableton 11 Suite. So yeah, let's jump in. So here's the first one. Cool. Okay. Beat first. Not much going on each of these percussion channels on their own. We've got these different snappy sounds, claps, some noise, and the kick. But on the group, I've made these macro sort of effects units that can be dragged onto any group of sounds, drums, anything really. And here we've got drum bus, some EQ, this sister twister. If we go to where that is in the browser, you can see here it's the buffer shuffler 2, which comes with the Max for Live collection, an auto filter, and an EQ. So let's just listen to the drums alone and see what each of these things are doing. So you can hear the buffer shuffler. Really powerful, really breaks apart beats. And high pass is high pass. This buffer shuffler is amazing at just breaking beats apart. Each of these moments in time are processed on this grid. So I think these arrows are forward and back, so it's reversing on the 4th measure, reversing whatever sound is played through it. It has a gate that's always open in this instance, but the stutter here clicks on here and here, and it's just full of effects. Really powerful and amazing that it comes with Ableton. Yeah, really powerful. So that's on the whole drum group, so you can hear it kicking in, and I have it automated to come in at the end. Here, you could hear when it's good for transitions and things like that. So yeah, that's the beat, really cool. also, I think I saw inside the. Well, let's talk about some of these sounds a bit more actually. So this is the kick alone. So it's going through a couple of reverbs, and you can hear the pitch changing. So I've actually pitched this kick drum around on the piano roll. These notes don't relate to the actual tuning of the kick drum, more just how much it's being pitched up and down. There are loads of pitch-based Ableton effects that you could use to achieve this, and we'll get into some of those later, but this is just a good way to add some variation to your kick. Just literally type it in with MIDI like you would a melody. Adds a lot of musicality to just a kick drum. Snapper is just a straight sample. Same with Snapper 2, nothing on those channels, nice and dry. Same with this clap sample. You can see where I've just drawn that in. Another just dry sample. But this has formant shifting on it and an LFO. So the LFO is controlling the formant amount here, and we can hear it as it. Formant shifting is an amazing way of subtly adding character and color to a sample without doing anything else to it. And the LFO just means that it moves through at the rate that I've assigned. So 6 here. And it just kind of, well, you can hear formant shifts. It adds where these nodes are. It's really exaggerating those frequencies, and they're moving around the spectrum, and it's just amazing. It's kind of otherworldly, very strange sounding, different to just straight pitching a sample up or down or adding chorus or anything to it. It's a unique characteristic, and works really well on snares and claps and things like that. And then this Atmos noise. So that is just a noise sample that I've made. And that's been ran through some erosion to give it some hiss. Thicken it up a little. And some reverb. So yeah, that's the beat. Quite happy with it. Sounds great. Bass. So this is just a sampled bass sound from one of my synths. With some filtering on. And this grain delay. Which is introducing some spray and an octave pitch effect. Which is crazy. Crazy sounding, I love it. And then, we can roll a lot of the top off. So yeah, really cool chain. Keys. So these have got some chorus ensemble on. Just midway, so parallel, dry and wet signals. Same amount of the effect, and the rate isn't set to the grid, it's just free moving. Hear it the way it just adds colour to sound. Same with the reverb as well. And this piano sound, by the way, you'll have all these chords in the collection, but this piano sound is one that we've built, so it takes up a very small amount of space. Ableton's own piano libraries take up gigabytes, which is justified. They have a lot of pedal sounds and things that respond to your playing live. But we found for this kind of music and for these arrangements, we just wanted sort of small, clean piano samples, which is what these are here, which are really useful for just quickly sketching out ideas and trying different effects on without having to max out your RAM. some pads. Again, a little macro collection that we've built here with a bunch of effects. So we have freeze, which is this hybrid reverb here with a set to freeze. And again, this is just a utility to control that freeze, because it can go on forever otherwise. Pretty simple. So this is the introduction of pitch hack into this collection, which is so powerful. Again, part of Max for Live's collection of plugins and effects. So you can see this macro here is controlling the dry wet. And basically, when fully wet, it's reversing the audio 45% of the time as quarter notes. As we increase the rate, you can hear it doing it more quickly, which has more of a grainy effect. But quarter notes is quite interesting rhythmically. And it's playing an octave higher, but that could be, that could go all the way up to, say, 2 octaves. Or, I don't know, a fifth, 7 steps. But when you're playing a mixture of the dry signal and the wet signal, I've just kept them as octaves to keep, so that no notes clash or anything. And that also has more, this has a phaser, the phaser plugin from Ableton. Again, just another colourful effect unit, essentially. That's without it. And with it. Again, just building that sort of otherworldly template. And finally, some guitar. So this is guitar that's been sampled, so you can play each note as a MIDI clip. And then we've built this chain. Again, more chorus. Quite a long chain, actually. Most of it is just, utility, some strong EQing, more chorus, auto pan, which can create a sort of tremolo effect, which is really nice. We have some reverb from the hybrid reverb. And some distortion from this. It's like a Marshall inspired distortion unit. So even though this macro goes all the way up to, what looks like 100%, it's only going up to 30% here, so we're not completely destroying the sound. There you go. So all together again. Sounds interesting, very ethereal, kind of crunchy, distorted. Some of these later ones are much more distorted. But yeah, that's the first one. Okay, next section. Weird. Really weird. So this is very Bjork inspired. Obviously, sounds nowhere near as good. This is just me. This is just my voice. Ran through. Oh, I didn't even have them all turned on. Ran through a bunch of distortion. Let's hear how they sound alone. Yeah, that's a bit better. And with it all turned off. Yeesh. Well, I think the best thing to do with... so I should say everything, if you haven't noticed so far, is Ableton only. No external plugins or effects. We just wanted to keep it all in the DAW. But just using Ableton only, I found, that's why a lot of these chains exist. It was just experimenting, seeing what you could do in the session, in the DAW only. And yeah, I think it sounds pretty great. So, but one thing I did find was stacking up different types of distortion really works well. So we've got, this is overdrive here, this first one. Then we've got pedal. It's just called pedal, but set to fuzz. So a different type. This is overdrive, distortion, and fuzz. And then some saturation at the end. And the three of them together really give it that kind of thick colour. Let's push them all a bit harder to hear that. So before things start to get too loud, you can hear. In fact, let's just go to utilities, grab a utility, and turn the output down so we can hear how good it sounds with everything really being slammed. 100%, gain. Oh, we can turn the output down a bit here as well. Gain. You can hear there. Wow. It almost doesn't sound human by the end. And something about processing a voice, something with a lot of dynamic and change. And, this isn't very heavily compressed at all, you can see on the waveform here. So it hits the inputs differently, constantly on all of these. Whereas if I'd really compressed this just raw audio going into these, you'd get a much more even sound, like with a guitar. But I wanted it to kind of move, and for the sound to kind of shape around what I was singing. I say singing loosely. But yes, so we've got this really cool lead. This chain is part of this collection, so you can really run anything through it: guitar, piano, your own vocal. But yeah, I'd recommend running something dynamic through it. So I just find it really fascinating the way that distortion reacts to different signal levels. On this entire group as well, I've created this this grains sort of master macro collection. So I'll just play the whole thing. Yeah, really powerful. Just something to put on the whole group to really twist and distort everything all at once. A lot of fun. Definitely save that to your library, so you have it to just chuck on anything. Very quick way of just ripping apart what you've done and reimagining it. The bass here is interesting. It's wavetable using their distortion submenu. Oh, lost it then, but it was brutal metal. Rolled off the top, auto filter, more overdrive and more saturation. Let's see how that sounds on its own. Yeah, solo. So I was just going for a little bit here, but you can hear it really wake up. And then it's being run through some sidechain compression at the end, just responding to the kick input, giving it some space. We can see at the start here there's a bit of a ramp on the gain, just to help build into the drop. So yeah, really interesting sound. Really, this whole pack is an experiment for me with using kind of conventional chains, so overdrive, fuzz, different delays, flanges, choruses, things that you typically, well, I would typically use on guitar in sort of a rock band setting, and applying them to much more digital inputs. Wavetable, this is a full wavetable synth. It's probably as what I would describe as modern sounding as synths get, alongside things like Serum, and then running them through these old, I say old in, not old sounding, analog sounding distortion units, and you do just get some crazy results. And yeah, I really think it's a great chain, this one, for that bass sound. It's crazy. So it's underneath some perk. So this is just a perk loop that I've made separately. Nothing really happening, just rolling off a lot of the low end, bit of auto pan, really simple. This is the piano again from earlier that we've made, this sort of smaller sounding piano. Very simple, just rolling a bit of the top off there. And then this noise wall is really interesting. I wanted to get even more, noise into the arrangement. So it really is just a recording of noise I made, and then it's being sidechained to the drums. Has a little bit of pan on it to move it around, and I'm rolling off all that junk down there, and a little bit at the top because it was a bit bright. But if we play that alongside the drums, it really helps fill out the space, and it supports the distortion of the vocals as well. It adds a nice extra element. Yeah. So there we go. A really simple one, this one, but I think everything just works so well together. And yeah, this plugin on the group here it's so useful for just twisting things up.